All right, welcome into Prop 5 on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. Happy Saturday. Happy Big Sports Day. We're going to get to some of it today. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick at 5 Reasons Sports. I'm not even going to try again, Eric, because I want to screw it up again. Eric Wiedeke, correct?
There you go. Yeah, you're learning.
I'm getting much. I don't know why your name is so much more challenging for me than more challenging names in the network. All right, so you can follow him there. And we got Sean Rochester. You can follow him at S Rochester NBA. We appreciate David Eversole for producing here today. We probably have another show on the NBA later today. We're going to talk some football on this one. Make sure you sign up using the code 5. It's, again, the code 5, F-I-V-E. Put down $5, get $50 to play right away. It is legal again in the state of Florida. We know it was gone for a couple months, so some people are like, why are you still doing these shows? Well, we wouldn't be doing them if you couldn't play. Came back 2-3 months ago, even longer than that, actually. And since then, we've had people have more luck with the new game, actually, than with the old one. So here's the deal. You got to win everything, though. So play between 2 and 4 players together. You can go up to 4, and you can play across sports, and that's important today because there's a lot of stuff to do. Okay, so let's start with the NFL games. Houston, Kansas City, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. I'll go to you first, Sean. Do you have a favorite Chiefs prop?
Chiefs, I don't. I have one in that game. Okay. CJ Stroud, I have him over on his rushing yards. I have it at 10.5, but you guys know that I live in a state that doesn't have access to this board. So
yes,
11.5.
Yeah, 11.5 rushing yards today. CJ Stroud, my fantasy quarterback, been an enormous disappointment for me this year. What is the feeling on that? Why is he going over?
I just think it's going to be a low-scoring, grinded-out game. I think it's a definite under type of game. Both of these teams lean second-half unders. If they get you in a position where they're up by 2 scores, they're going to ground and pound and just run the ball. So I think especially, too, with Mahomes being injured, they're going to be cautious with him, try to get up early. Thank you, Major. I love you. We'll keep it low scoring on the ground with CJ Stroud. It's a small number, 10.5. Two good runs or maybe one big run, and he's got it.
Eric, what do you like in this game?
I actually like something on the Chiefs side with Mahomes banged up. As Sean mentioned, I think this is going to be a game where both teams kind of lean on the run. And ever since Isaiah Pacheco has been back, Kareem Hunt has not been phased out like a lot of people think he would be. So I like his over rushing and receiving at 34.5 yards in this game. He's still involved in that offense, and I think Kansas City is going to have a very conservative game plan with Mahomes nicked up.
It's interesting you say that because my play was actually in line with that. I was going to play Pacheco under. Pacheco's number at 62.5 rushing and receiving. Again, he's just kind of come back into the fold here. But he hasn't hit that in any of the last 3. 47 since he came back. 47, 41, 49. I'm looking at his overall rush yards at 52.5. I'd honestly play either under right now. And I think I'm with you. I would play the Kareem Hunt rush attempts over also at 7. It does seem like they're going to more of a backfield by committee there. On the Houston side, I'll say this. I was going to go under on Stroud with passing yards. It just doesn't seem like they're particularly inclined to open up the offense. The Chiefs have a pass rush. I don't think it's going to give them a ton of time to operate. You can see there was at 224.5. That's the Goblin, right? So the middle one, 230.5. I'm going to play that. I would play that under today. I just don't think that he's going to have a lot of chance to operate. Chiefs defense has basically carried them for good portions of this year. I'm going to stay with that. All right, Baltimore and Pittsburgh today. Eric, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, so when it comes to Baltimore and Pittsburgh, specifically, this is going to be more so for Pittsburgh. I like Jaylen Warren over on his receiving yards at 19.5 today. This is a Baltimore defense that is number 1 against the run in the league. So I think if you're going to play any of these Pittsburgh running backs, I even kind of like Najee Harris and his receiving number. But the Pittsburgh running backs, I like the receiving totals in this game.
Let's start with the Pittsburgh side then, Sean. What do you see there?
Yeah, we're kind of aligned on that. I have Najee Harris under on his rushing attempts. I had it at 13.5, so I don't know what the line is on PrizePicks.
13.
There you go. So you're pushing on, my number, but yeah, it's same concept. You're not going to be able to run the ball against them. You think of these two teams being like in between the tackles, we're just going to grind it out, but I just don't think that's the way to play against them. not having George Pickens is not going to be helpful towards that. But I think Mike Tomlin's going to come up with a game plan to try to find ways around that Ravens defense, which is playing better.
And you know which way I think he's going to find? I think it's going to the tight end. I'm going to play Freiermuth over. I like two numbers here. I like all the numbers, actually. I like the over 3.5 receptions. He's been at 3 the last 2 weeks. I think he'll be more of a focus. 5 receiving targets is probably where I would go. He went over that last week, had 6, 37.5 receiving yards. So I would play him. Before we get to Baltimore, how would you guys play Russ today? Half an interception, 210.5 passing yards.
If what I have for Russ today is actually over on attempts.
Okay.
I just think it's a game script that Pittsburgh's not going to want to run the football too much, and they might be kind of playing from behind for a decent portion of this game. So I think, if anything, the pass attempts would be what I play on Russ.
Interesting, because he's been way under the last 2. 30.5 over the last 5. The number 30 over the last 5. The number 30.5, 22 and 26 the last 2. Sean, would you play Russ?
I don't. What was the number for passing?
Passing yards are 210.5, 220.5 passing and rushing. So yeah,
I would lean over. I don't think that would be something I would play strongly, but I do think Pittsburgh is going to compete in this game. I think, it's right around a touchdown. I think that they cover, but Baltimore wins. I feel like it's a Derrick Henry day. It just feels like, a cold winter day in Baltimore, and Derrick Henry's going to have one of those massive runs where the place goes crazy. So we'll see.
This is one of these days where I get stuck in college and I couldn't get home to Florida because it was that week in Baltimore. So I'm very familiar with this. TJ Watt, quarter sack. It's a goblin. You going to get Lamar today? What do you guys think?
Okay. I don't know. I have no idea. You sure?
I mean, 2 sacks last week. He didn't have any the week before. All right. So anything else? It sounds like you're going to play Henry. Eric, what would you play on the Baltimore side? Would you play Lamar? Right. I think Eric might be frozen here. So I'll go to Sean on this one.
Yeah, I think Henry is the play that I like. I think it's probably one of those popular public plays too, though. I used it in a alt line and had him over 60. I think his rushing yards are more like in the 70s, I believe.
Yeah.
He's I think last week they rested him in anticipation of knowing that this game was going to be a big one where they're going to really lean into him, and they didn't really give him the workload last week. So I think he's fresh and ready to roll. Looks like
83.5 rushing yards, by the way, is the total on PrizePicks. So if you're looking for the exact total, I'll tell you, I like the tight end here too. I like Isaiah Likely over 2.5 receptions. I just think these Pittsburgh Baltimore games, they especially in cold weather, like it is work the middle of the field. Just try to stay out of long down and distance situations. Tight ends get those kind of dump off passes and work the middle. I'm going to play I play Likely over on the 2.5. Anything on the Baltimore side, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, my theme is going to be pass catching running backs. Justice Hill is good to break 1 reception for at least 15, 16 plus just about every single game. So I think his rushing plus receiving total at 32.5. That's a number that I think I'm taking, all day long with Justice Hill. Okay.
All right, let's pivot over to college now. David's going to put the big board up here, obviously going through the playoff stuff now. Some of the games today: Texas, Tennessee, and we've got Penn State, SMU. You said you have a favorite here, Sean?
Yeah, in the SMU game, the running back, Brashard Smith. Eric just talked about pass catching running backs. Brashard Smith, former Hurricane. He is second on the team in receptions. I have him over on his receiving yards. I have it at 21.5. Is that
okay?
Comparable, 23.5, it looks like on PrizePicks. I think this is a game where I think SMU is going to compete, but Penn State's going to pull away as time goes on. I think they're going to wear on them. It is bitterly cold outside, and I know Penn State is a few hours away from me, but SMU is full of a lot of Texas kids and a lot of Florida kids, a lot of former Miami guys. And we know, unfortunately, there are a lot of times, whether it's the Dolphins or Hurricanes, when they go into cold weather, we know what happens. And it is going to be bitter cold in Happy Valley today. So I would lean Penn State, but I'm going to go with the pass receiving for their running back.
Okay, Eric, anything on the college games today?
Yeah, I fully agree, except this time I went rushing and receiving on Brashard Smith. He is, for lack of a better term, pretty much their entire offense, at least as far as the skill position players go. I think he takes, the lion's share of their of the work.
All right. I had one play I liked today. I kind of like, and I know I'm with you that I think SMU stays in the game, but I don't necessarily think they're going to get a lot in the air today. I'm going Kevin Jennings under on the 1.5 passing touchdowns. Actually, that was a play that I liked today. I don't see them going over that. All right, we'll have NBA stuff later today. Again, use the code FIVE, put down 5. Get $50 to play. Major wants to chime in here. Dylan Sampson for Tennessee has hit the over all but 2 games. One game he got 11 carries. The other he was at, I think he means 9 there, Major. But yes. So check out Major Money, of course. There was we'll get NBA stuff up today. NFL tomorrow morning. Dolphins play the 49ers at 4:25 tomorrow. So we'll do a show prior to the early games. Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks.